Hey cats, it's Ed Newshound Bud here, back once again with another episode of the Running News. Thanks for joining us here on EDDBUD Running Shoe Reviews. It's always appreciated. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button and also click the bell below for notifications so you're notified. You won't want to miss out, would you? Like I've missed out yet again on a London marathon place. Also give this video a thumbs up, like and share it with your running buddies. It really does help out. You know it makes sense. Before we get to story number one, let me know down in the comments whether you got lucky with a London marathon place. I've tried for countless years now and I always get the big no chance. It's an especially big type as well, Kafuzi pointed out this time, just to really demoralise you, to rub salt into the wound. Never mind, there's always next year. Story 1. Interesting here, Nike have unveiled some more details about some of their refurbishment processes. Sheds a bit more light on what exactly can be reused or repurposed and recycled, and just how they go about doing that. First up, they have the Nike Refurbish Repair in Store option. It's a bit like those Apple stores, you know, where you can take stuff in and are they called the Geniuses or something like that? And they can repair certain things in store. Although only appears to be open in North America, this one, Nike will take in gently worn like new or imperfect shoes and refurbish them in store. They do it by hand as well, no machines here. I have to do it by hand whenever I clean my shoes. They then enable people to buy them at a reduced price. And you know I love a bargain. This could explain some of the super deals that some people have picked up on the Vaporfly Next Percent and the Alphafly Next Percent recently in some of the US outlets. Steve Starr, I'm looking at you. That's a darn good deal, my friend. Secondly, unwanted shoes can be recycled or donated into stores as well. I think they do this across a number of different European locations. I'm not sure the UK's one of them yet. You can even donate clothing as well as shoes. Firstly, they're examined by somebody in store, and then they remove any parts that cannot be recycled. So I guess they've got some sort of listing somewhere of the things that can be taken off and that can be left on the shoe. Some of the stuff will be turned into Nike Grind, which we have seen before in some of the Crater models. I think they've used Nike Grind to make playground flooring, like running tracks as well, and even furniture. That would be cool to have something made of shoes, maybe like a nice armchair or something, or a coffee table, for example. Lastly, Nike have produced some care tutorials to keep your stuff in tip-top condition. I guess trying to make things last a little bit longer, eke out a few more uses. There's anything there from hats to bags, pretty much any Nike item really, they've got some sort of care tutorial for it. Good stuff. Story 2. I noticed that Asics had properly launched their Metaspeed LD. Flew under the radar a little bit, this one, but I think a number of track users who really love the Flight Foam Blast Turbo material that we had in the Metaspeed Sky are going to really dig this shoe. Asics seem to refer at the moment quite a lot to people taking longer strides perhaps when they're running faster. Interesting, because they seem to dwell a little bit on people perhaps increasing their cadence and having certain shoes for that. But this one certainly appears to be if you have a longer stride. Certainly the profile looks a little bit more like the Asics Metaspeed Sky, doesn't it? I do believe that there's a carbon plate across the full length of the midsole in this track spike. And we have no pins apparently here, or spikes as we call them here in the UK. There's a high frequency of loads of little protrusions there across the outsole in the Metaspeed LD. An initial implementation of something that Asics are calling the Hexaclaw outsole. Asics suggests people will find the movement in this one a little bit more fluid perhaps than a standard track spike where you've just got maybe like 6 spikes across it. This probably isn't one that I'm going to pick up. There's probably some much faster people out there that can do it justice. I only get limited access to the track, not enough to warrant picking up another spike. Let me know if you're going to pick up the Asics Metaspeed LD down in the comments. Certainly a very interesting new spike. Don't say that every day. No pins. Story 3. Some super shoes really do look space age these days, don't they? Well, these are quite literally inspired by space. The SPACEX 38% 2101 running shoes, developed by the Mars brand, could be what Kipchoge's grandchildren's grandchildren could be breaking records in the future. We've got gravity-defying materials and a profile that's really out of this world. I mean, the shoe is named after the gravity variation between Mars and good old planet Earth. Maybe in the future people will say that, you know, do you remember good old planet Earth? when we had petrol cars, gramophones, and we used to transfer data to each other using copper cables. Believe it or not, the upper here has nanotubes. That's something I never thought I would say. Which apparently warm up and then contract the upper to fit your foot. Insane stuff. It's like something out of Back to the Future Part 2. There was me thinking the Nike Air Mag was cool. Well, this really takes the biscuit. No laces and a combo of various different EVA blends here for both the outsole and the midsole. I think they're trying to perhaps lower the weight a little bit here. Is that something you want? The gravity's lower? I'm not sure. I'm thinking Hoka Carbon X3, where you've got that sort of more squashy foam atop a more durable and firm EVA for the outsole. I think bring on Mr. Spoon, Buzz Lightyear, and Luke Skywalker for testing out this SPACEX beauty. Bonkers, this one. Absolutely out of this world. I really actually want to try running in it, just to say I've run in a shoe that's produced for space. Story 4. Last up today is the again bonkers relaunch of the zoomx Streakfly, and an unannounced Nike shoe that's just appeared with no fanfare whatsoever. The white, flash crimson and hyper variant of the Streakfly sold out within moments of release here in the UK. At least I suppose it left easy pickups on the Alphafly Next Percent, the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 and the Pegasus 38, which is the tried and tested combo of releases that we see every time with a new colourway. I assume still that Nike are starving the supply of these Streakfly shoes. I can't believe for one second that they're surprised by the demand for this shoe, although I think when people are getting them they're realising perhaps they're not exactly what they thought they're going to be. I think it keeps that demand quite high. I think after another couple of releases the demand will drop off a little bit. I think their reduced Adidas Sen 8 is a much better shoe all round, with the price a little bit closer to the Streakfly. I don't think there's any doubt which is the better shoe. Interestingly, I noticed there's a very quiet drop for the Nike React MILER 3. Now, it looks like a bit of a redesign here. The profile certainly a little bit more nimble, perhaps. Seems a little closer, in fact, to the Infinity Run model in the midsole this time. And there's a slightly lower price of 115 Earth credits. Odd to see this one appear with zero fanfare at all. And I think the quite attractive Siren Red and Black version is actually half decent as an initial colourway. Zero stats at all though for this new version of the shoe, so I am going to hang fire until I learn a little bit more about the weight. If it's dropped a little bit I might go for it. Otherwise I just don't need another React clog right now. Did you get lucky on the second Streakfly release? Let me know down in the comments. That's all the running news for this week. Tune in next week for some more stories. Musical interlude time. Recently, to get my 19-month-old son to eat, I've been listening to The Who. I know that sounds kind of odd, but it seems to work. I give him a saucepan and a wooden spoon, and we listen to Substitute and My Generation, and he loves it. He'll eat his dinner, he makes a racket, and everyone has fun. Particularly like the Live at Leeds album from 1970. There's too many great tracks on here to mention. The Who are really good form. Sometimes live albums can be a bit of a letdown, but here certainly the blue touch paper's been lit. There's some wild drumming, some bouncy thumpy bass, and some nice razor-like cut guitars. Sort of like organised chaos really. You've got the drums thumping away there. The bass is always really exciting, really interesting on the Who tracks. Entwistle was supreme. Very interesting fashion sense as well. And then the very unpredictable Townsend on the guitar. So yeah, it's a recipe for not disaster, a recipe for enjoyment. It's kind of like getting loads of different things together for a meal that shouldn't work, but they do. The Who live at Leeds. Maybe you should try it when you're next eating your dinner. Right, time for me to get my editing hat on so that you guys can watch this that I'm doing right now. If you've not done so already, hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications when we launch the new videos for you. Also, help the channel out in terms of the YouTube algorithm by giving this video a thumbs up like, but also sharing it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you